Hi, it's me. It's Tony again, Tony Presley. I've been putting a load of videos up to promote my book, but I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I will just go for a nice walk. It's a lovely day. The sun's out. It's a nice pleasant place. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go for a walk, and I might talk about stuff or I might not talk about stuff. So don't be surprised if I stop talking. I might be 5 minutes between talking, and also you're probably not going to see me on the screen much because I'm not using the selfie camera, so I'm just going to point it at where I'm going and what I'm looking at and maybe talk about it. And this video, I've no idea how long it's going to be. I'm going to go on like a 3 or 4 mile walk, and I'm going to maybe try and record the whole of the walk, and I'll try and speak now and again, but the point is I'm just going for a lovely walk. So come for a walk with me, and let's go. And as I've noticed as I'm talking to you, a lot of brambles there, but these brambles, I've got some lovely crop of blackberries on. And there we go. Looks nice. Give it a try. Oh, that one's nice. I took a couple for my journey. I remember when we were kids, we used to go out picking blackberries. We'd take a bowl with us, and we'd collect them. We actually had a blackberry bush in our garden, a gooseberry bush as well, when we were kids. Gooseberries are disgusting, but blackberries are nice. One thing we used to do is you'd get your blackberry and then you'd press it against your chest and you squash out, and it's got blood. It's like a blood capsule when you're making a film. So we'd have our fake fights, and then fake gunfights, cowboy fights, that type of thing. And then we just slap a gooseberry to your shirt, and it looked like you'd been shot. And as you can imagine, my mother wasn't very keen. Yeah, they're nice, these blackberries. See what I mean about the blood? It's not blood, it's blackberry juice, but you get the idea. This area where I'm walking now, I'm walking up to a bypass that opened in the 80s. But what I'm walking up to, this bit I'm walking through now, used to be a farmer's field. Found some more berries. I don't know if these are safe to eat, so I'm gonna. Oh God, they're hard. Very sharp. So this used to be a farmer's, well, literally a farmhouse in this area, and I've got blackberry juice down my front. So it used to be a farmhouse, and I don't remember it being occupied, but my family do. And when we used to go out for a walk, sometimes we'd stop and they'd give us a drink of water. Now again, I don't remember that. I'm just going what my brothers and sisters tell me. There was an empty building when we were kids, so we used to walk around it and pick up any odds and ends that were left lying around. An old cup, an old plate, you know, that type of stuff. We used to walk this way, but this bypass wasn't there, this road, and I'm not too sure, it's hard to remember, but I think they've gone and dug a valley to put this road through. I think we used to walk He's got some speed on. So I think we used to walk across higher. Sorry, I'm going to cross the road now while I get a chance. Yeah, so these steps, weren't there when we were kids. I think we used to just cross from up top there to up top there. Nearly fell over then. That's a worry when you're out walking by yourself, isn't it? What if you fall over and break your neck? Nobody knows I'm here. I just realised I haven't brought a bottle of water. Never mind, I'm not walking very far, just a mile or two. I'll have a drink when I get home. Right. I've just had a thought. Normally when I've been recording these videos I'm using vertical so I can put it on TikTok or something like that, but I think I'm just going to go on wide and use it that way because you get a better view, and just put this up on YouTube. So I'm going to stop and then restart. Right, so I've restarted. This used to be one of our favourite places when we were kids. We would walk up here often as a gang, a group of 4 or 5 of us. And where I'm talking to you from, we're on the edge of Sherwood Forest. So you can imagine how that plays with your imagination when you're a kid, when you realise you live in Sherwood Forest. When you're a kid, Sherwood Forest is something on the television. It never clicks. It's a real place. And so here we are. Now this is basically on the bottom edge. Still lovely though. Where we're looking at here, the woods go reasonably deep, not super deep. But where we're going to walk a little bit further on, it becomes basically a path through a golf course. When we were younger, that golf course, it was there, but it didn't. It wasn't so close to the path. You could see it in the distance. There was one little bit that came close to the path, but other than that. But now the golf course has taken the land. Or been sold the land, one of the two, but they've got the land, and they've taken the areas off us. Toothpick. I've got the pips from those blackberries stuck in my teeth. And now I've got the toothpick stuck in my teeth. Oh. stuck now. I bet you wanted to know that, didn't you? And this is what I'm saying about the golf course. Did you hear it?
Real shape, then that's made a massive difference. And that's it.
There you go. That's what I'm saying about the golf course. That's how close it is. Yeah, it leads onto the golf course there, and then through to the golf course there. It must have been a bad summer for them, because I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but the grass is, well, it's brown. We've not had rain for a long time. Must be 6 weeks since we last had rain. A couple of very, very light showers. That's all. Yeah, the green's green, but the rest of it is all parched. If I was using my other camera, my other phone, it's got good stabilization built in, but I'm using this phone because it has very small file sizes. I've set it on a small resolution, on low resolution, and I'm using it for that. trying to get some exercise. I'm retired now, and I used to have a very active job. I used to walk regularly, minimum of between 8 and 20 miles a day. On a quiet day, we'd walk 5 miles. But now, I barely get a tenth of that, so I need to start getting the exercise. I saw myself on a video the other day, and I'm getting a bit of a belly. So I need to sort that out. I'm not fat or anything. I just want to keep myself healthy. Now, roughly here, there used to be a tree that we used to love when we were kids. We used to call it the monkey tree. I actually found a photo of it the other day. And it's a small tree. It wasn't very tall. It was only about 7 or 8 foot tall, but it was ideal for climbing, and we loved it. But it's gone now, ripped down. But then again, in 50 years, it might have changed the way it looked. But I think it's just been ripped down, which is a pity. I mean, we called it that, but it's very possible that nobody else did. It might have just been our family that called it that, because it was a good place to stop off and play on. There's literally a picture of me and my brother, and I can't figure out if it's my brother or not, or it might be me, but one of us is, doing monkey poses, like a chimpanzee, arms under the armpits type thing. But it's not a very good picture because, it's an old camera, 1960s, cheap film, that type of stuff. See what I mean about the path now? I'm just cutting through the golf course. In front of us there, I don't know if you can see it on the video, we're approaching it anyway, there's a gate. That gate wasn't there when we were kids. It's to stop people driving cars up and down this place. But over the years, strangely enough, it used to be like a dogging spot. Yeah, because sometime in the 80s I was driving this way, and I decided, because the road was really bad, it was covered in snow, I decided to turn around in this spot. And as I turned around in it, I found let's say an actively occupied couple in a car parked on that spot. Yeah, see, they put a gate up there as well, look. That leads up to a place called Clumber, which is 3 or 4 miles away. It's quite a walk. Last time I walked that way, because you can see it's a bit rough and ready. Last time I walked that way, I think I twisted my knee a little bit, and it was hard to walk home. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to walk down this road here. There's a sign there saying cycle path, Manton Pit Wood. Now Manton Pit, if you ever looked at my other videos, was the old mine. But of course the mine's not there anymore, but it's still called Manton Pit Wood. This road is called Old Coach Road. And when I was a kid, I was told that it's called Old Coach Road because he was haunted by a haunted coachman. He had you could hear the screaming horses at night, breathing fire. That's what I was told. And having an imagination like I'd got at that time, I could picture it as I was walking up here. When we used to come out walking this way with my mum in the 60s, the whole gang of us, and I was always hoping we could get home in time, that it wasn't dark, because I didn't want to be here when the ghosts came out. That actually caught me off guard. I could hear it behind me, but I always thought it was an electric car. Instead, it sounded like an electric tractor. I thought it was an electric car, so I just pulled in to let the car past, and it turns out it's a chuffing tractor. If it had been a car, I wouldn't have had to pull over. That's a good job I did, because he didn't pip or anything to let me know. Oh, that's a chap on bike. Hey mate. As you can imagine, it's quite a nice place for riding a bike. It's fairly straight, fairly long, very little traffic. If you've looked at any of my other videos, there's one where I say that I always thought my dad, who worked in a woodyard, worked somewhere near the town. The town of Worksop. If this is the only video you're watching, I'm walking just outside of a town called Worksop in Nottinghamshire. And my dad used to work in a woodyard. And when I was a kid, and for most of my adult life till about 10 years ago, I thought he worked at that woodyard in town. But I only found out, like I say, 10 years ago, that he actually worked in a woodyard here. That's down there on the left-hand side, past the golf course. I don't know exactly where. My brother can point out, but I can't. I'm going to cross the road because there's a car coming. All this rubble here, all these stones, is here to stop fly tippers. It always used to be a good spot for fly tipping. And if you look, there's still a bit. An old chair there. So somebody's just curse of the modern world, isn't it? McDonald's wrappers. I mean, I use McDonald's, but I always make sure my paperwork and my papers are disposed of properly. I'm just going to walk a little bit further and then I'm going to come back, and I think I'll walk that way to go home. See, according to the camera, I've been walking for 20 minutes already. Last time I walked this way, this field was full of pigs. It was full of a lot of temporary pigsties. The whole field, oops, nearly fell over then. The whole field, and you can see how big the field is. It was full of pigsties, and you could just see it. You could stand and watch the pigs and the piglets trotting around in the little. It was divided into pens, but it was. But it's all gone now, so it must be a temporary thing. They must move the pigs around. I suppose if you put pigs on a place, there must be a good agricultural reason for it. Maybe they turn the soil over for you. Maybe the pig muck fertilises the land. I don't know. I have to look into that, I think. Right, so I'm not going to walk any further down here because there's nothing any different to what you've already seen, and it's 20 minutes in, so it's going to take me 20 minutes to get home. But further down there on the left hand side, like I say, is the woodyard where my dad used to work, and then a bit further on there's the entrance to Clumber Park. Now Clumber Park is a big country park owned by the National Trust, and we used to go there and play a lot when we were kids. But I went recently, and they've sort of like closed off the places where we used to play. We used to play ball, we used to play football and rounders and things like that, but that's all closed off now. The only things you can do there is walk and cycle, which isn't, I mean, it's got its own pleasures, but it's not as much fun as just kicking a football around your arm with your mates and going and have a kick about. So if you remember, or I say remember, if you've read the book or I don't think I mentioned it in any of the videos, but if you read the book, you'll see that when I was younger, I didn't have very good hand-eye coordination or motor skills enough to play football well. So I couldn't play it properly. I couldn't play it as a team, but I could play it as a kickabout with your mates. Just, you know, you run around to try and kick the ball. That's about my limit of my footballing skills. So I'm going to go Manton Pit Wood, cycle path to Manton. That's what the sign says. I've never walked this path before, to be honest. It didn't used to be here when we used to walk, because when we were kids, where we're walking to now was a mine, and so you couldn't walk to it. And since as an adult, I tend mostly to drive down that road, so no need to take off this offshoot of the road. So let's see where this takes us. It's a lovely day. Not too hot. We've been having some really hot weather lately, but this is quite fresh. Right, which way? Oh, that way. Dip, dip, sky blue. Which way shall it be? I think it must be you. So let's go this way. I went out for a little walk the other day, recorded a video or two, but I didn't intend walking. I just intended oh, I'm not going up there, it's a big hill, but I have a feeling I know where it's going to go to. If I go up there, it's what we call the pit top, and that would lead me to places where people go on scramble bikes, and they go scrambling around it, but that's very steep. I think I will avoid that, and I will go this way to the left. Now, I was saying I went for a walk, and it turns out I didn't intend going for a walk. I just intended just for a gentle stroll, and I was wearing the wrong footwear, and so I twisted my ankle a little bit. I slid around in my shoes. Those shoes are like slippers. You can see how steep that is. You might not be able to see it on the camera, but it's very steep. I don't want to climb up there. Maybe that's a path that people have made coming down rather than going up. So let's walk this way. Yeah, I've lived in this area for 65 years, coming up for 66. Never walked this path before. there's that path there. It looks a bit rougher underfoot, to be honest. I think it's a bit of a dead end, so I'm going to continue up this one. It's going uphill, but it's nowhere near as steep as that other one was. I don't know if you can hear the motorbikes in the distance. But like I say, people come up here and they ride motocross bikes and that sort of stuff. Not BMXs, but electric ones, the petrol ones. They're not supposed to. It's not always designed for, but it's what happens. I'm not going up, but there's that way up there, or that way down there, or further on. I'm just going to go straight on there. But I was just thinking to myself, in winter, when there's snow on the ground, that'd make a great toboggan. It'd be a bit heavy underfoot, but and again, make your backside throb, basically the old spine. Maybe it'd be a laugh. think I'm coming to the end of the end of this path because I can hear a busy road up front, and I think I can picture where it comes out. That's what I'm saying, look, see, it's not too far, I could make it up there, but I don't think I'm going to bother. But if I went up there, came down on the sledge in winter, bounce across this path, jump off the edge of that, and carry on down that slope. That's fun, isn't it? Well, I'm just looking at these paths, and you can see the grooves on both sides, which makes me think they're used by 4x4s, probably digging up the earth. I heard a motor behind me. I think it's a 4x4, as I thought. Water. Now, where has that come from? Because we've not had rain for weeks. I have a feeling, strangely enough, it's red. You might be able to see the colour of it, it's red. And I have a feeling that it's bubbling up from the old mine. Because the old mine, the old mine used to have an overflow. They used to pump the water out because they had so much water in the mine. Now the mine's closed. I suppose that water's still there. It's got to go somewhere. But there's no explanation of where it's come from. There's no... Oh well. You find something new every day. I'm coming up to a road. I don't know where it leads to. I know if I turn left, it'll take me where I need to go, I think. I have a feeling I know where I am. I think. No, it's not that. It's a different road. National Circle. I think carry on this way. It's not a road as such, it's more like a dirt path. More blackberries. Very tasty. Yeah, I think I'm coming to the end of the road now because I can hear traffic. But there, a windmill, and that's roughly where the winding wheel for the shaft of the mine used to be. So when I said back then, I think that water's come from the mine, we are now standing roughly where the mine used to be. I thought we would have been. I know I said I wasn't going to chat much through this, but I'm going to take advantage of being stood next to that and just say a few of my thoughts. See, when I was a kid, half the men in the village worked in the mine. I say half, it felt like half, it might have only been a few hundred, but the whole point of Manton, the village, is that it was built to service the mine. So everybody who lived in Manton was originally there to work in one capacity or another for the mine. You would you either work down the mine or on the mine, or like my dad did, he worked in a wood yard which made wooden pit props for the mine. There was engineers who supplied equipment to the mine, and so on and so on. So the whole of the mine supplied a huge amount of work for the district. So in the great mining closures of the latter part of the 20th century, when they closed the mine, you got this thing where people are saying, well, you know, the mine's not viable and it's not, and it can't serve its purpose anymore. And I'm not a geologist or an economist, so you know I can't disagree with that. I can disagree with it emotionally, but on a practical level, I can't disagree with it because I don't have the information. But when they closed those mines, they also closed the community. You know, where were the miners lost their work, but a lot of the other jobs around the area, they also supplied the mine. You know what I mean? Oh, there's a sign there, Manton Car Park. Turn left here, I think. So the whole district was changed radically. You've got people who didn't necessarily work for the mine, but supplied stuff for the mine, and so they had to look for work, and a lot of people didn't find it. I worked in a supermarket for a long time, 7 years at that time, but then again I knew I was never going to work down the mine. I knew it wasn't something I wanted. Weird thing is, if you've ever seen the film Kes, which my book has some resemblances to, whereas that was a fiction, mine's a true story. In the film he says, I'm not going to work down the pit. In the end, a spoiler alert, he does. He ends up working down the pit because there was nothing else. That was the only thing that you could do. Whereas by the time I left school, I was determined not to work in the pit. I did apply for a job in the offices there as a clerk, but that didn't happen. And so as I worked at the supermarket, it was when the miners' strikes were on, and a lot of the women who worked in the supermarket, husbands worked in the mine, and you could feel the bitterness from them, from the women, about what was happening. So I think I have now reached now I'm crossing the road now. I think this bridge will take me across the bypass that we originally started out at in the distance. In video it's hard to picture, but that thing's gigantic. Being a science fiction geek, I remember in the 80s there was a teleseries called Tripods. I read the book once, pretty good book actually. But in the teleseries, these tripods loomed over the trees and over the countryside. And every time I see that thing, it just reminds me of a tripod looming. I think it's going to capture some local kids and turn them into mind slaves. I watch too much science fiction. I remember once looking out from the hospital I worked at, and you could see that in the distance, and it was sticking its head above of the fog. And I said to one of the nurses, "You ought to turn that thing on; it'd blow the fog away." As a joke, obviously. And she said, "Oh, can you do that?" And she was a nurse. Anyway, back to the walk, back to the bridge. Yeah, I'm now crossing this bridge, and there's the road. Where we crossed the road earlier, and if you can see where the bend is, where the cars are disappearing around the bend, that's roughly where we walked. So we walked up there, around a big circle, and then back onto this path here, and back. Right, so there's the road sign, that way to Manton, or that way to car park. Well, I'll go to Manton because that's where I live, so let's go that way. If you're wondering, that's a B&Q distribution centre. So if you ever buy anything from B&Q, chances are it's gone through that place. Give you a hint on geography. Worksop, where I'm speaking to you from, is literally about 2 miles one way. I've got the M1, and 2 miles the other way we've got the A1. So it's ideal for distribution. So we've got so many of these distribution places around here at the minute. We've got B&Q. We've got loads of them. I say loads, half a dozen or so. But they're all big, and they all and they've replaced the mines as the main business of the district. Oh, there we go. What did I say about B&Q? Well, back there where there was a sign pointing this way to Manton, that way to car park, I think I should have just taken the car park one over filming. It would have been a lot quicker, because now I'm doubling back on myself. I'm heading away from Manton, but there's no other turn off. Well, I've been recording for nearly an hour, so I don't know how the battery's going to last out on this camera. I just checked my watch and I've walked 7,200 steps. And to be honest, it feels a lot more than that. Well, I think my alternative route shortcut has like maybe trebled the distance of the walk. Didn't plan to walk this distance. Been walking for over an hour now. I could hear heavy traffic, so we're coming to the edge of the woods, I reckon. Can you hear the sirens? Ah, here we are, look, the end of the road. Okay, here we are then. This is the end of the path leading up to the road. If you've looked at any of the other videos I put up, you'll see, I'll show you in a moment. I'm trying to stay away from the traffic because the traffic interferes with the microphone a little bit. So this is the end of the road. I hope you've enjoyed the walk. It's been an hour and 5 minutes for me. Depending if you fast forward it or even watch it at all, this is it. So, you know, if you've seen any of my other videos, you'll know that I've been writing a book. So do me a favour if you want. If you want to buy that book, that'd be great. But you don't have to. There's no fee for this walk. I'll just wait for a walk myself. Thought I'd bring you along. But buy the book if you want. Tell me what you think about it. Give me an honest opinion. Don't lie. Tell me the truth. If you don't like it, that's fine. If you do like it, that's even better. But either way, don't lie. Tell the truth. And even if you don't want to say anything, don't say anything. That's perfectly acceptable. But I'm going to sign off now, and I'll show you as I walk here, if you've seen in the other videos, how close I am, maybe, to the willows. And there, behind that dip in the trees, I'll try and zoom in, to see a railway arch. That railway arch is the willows that I described or visited in one of my previous videos, and also makes an appearance in the book. So take care, look after yourself, and maybe watch another video. They're nowhere near as long as this though. So see you soon. Take care.